they pushed through, and today was much better. Guys practiced a lot better today and had good energy. And we did a lot of good on good periods. Worked against each other about 50% of the practice, and then against Murray State the other 50%. So it was good tempo.
Coach, can you give us just an idea of what does Murray State like to do? What kind of team do they look like?
They're air raid tight. They spread you out, throw the ball around. Mitch got a history with Coach Hatcher. They throw the ball around, spread around to a lot of screens, intermediate passing game, get the ball out quick. They run the ball really well for what you think they would do. Everybody thinks they throw the ball every snap, but they've got large splits, which make it tough to play the gaps. They make you defend the entire field. They do a really good job defensively, too. They really dominated last Saturday.
Kirby, a lot of guys yesterday were talking about playing to the Georgia standard and things like that. For you, what does that mean to you, and what is it like getting guys to buy into that concept of always playing against that as well as playing the scoreboard?
Yeah, we talk about being relentless competitors, playing with toughness, effort, never watching the scoreboard, and you play to that standard, and the rest kind of takes care of itself. And I think when you worry about results, like so many people in our society do, it makes it tough to ever be happy. So we don't concern ourselves with the results. We try to focus on what exactly it is that we want to achieve, which is unbelievable effort, toughness, and resiliency and relentless effort. And we just keep saying the same words over and over so the kids understand that's what matters. And if you do that, you'll usually get good results.
Kirby, Murray State had a good number of tackles for losses last week against obviously a different level of opponent. How can they give you trouble in that regard?
Well, they're quick. They do a lot of movements up front. They plug guys. They move quick, athletic. They can create some problems with their movements if you're not prepared for them.
Is Clay Webb out there, or
No, Clay Webb's not out there. He's sick right now.
he's Tramel Wallflower?
Tramel's not out there right now. He's dinged up a little bit, so he hasn't been able to practice for a couple days now. We think we'll get him back shortly, but we don't know when.
Not sure if we saw it right, but it looked like Adam may have been working with the inside linebackers today.
No, he's a space player. So, I mean, what we do is a lot of his third down package, he's been making. I mean, he had a play the other night where he was out in the flat and he rerouted a guy on third down. Well, that's more inside backer than outside backer, but he works both. So he has to be able to pass rush. He trains as an outside backer, but he's really been what we call a DPR, designated pass rusher. So he plays a lot of third downs in space. So, and sometimes the outside backers don't get to practice in space. The inside backers do. So we just rotate who we practice with. He doesn't play inside backer. He doesn't take any reps there. He just plays in space a lot.
It appears Jamari's moving around pretty good. Is he in a position now that he can he might be able to help you, might be able to play?
I don't know. I have to see the practice. I saw him yesterday, and I thought the same thing. I thought he was in. I thought he was like where was that last week? Like he jumped into being in shape pretty quick, or not being injured as bad. He had a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, so he got a lot of recovery time. But I hadn't seen the tape today, so obviously I'll have to wait and see on that. But I thought he looked better yesterday.
What does it look like for the players that don't travel? How do you guys schedule them for when you guys are on? I mean, I know they don't have practice or whatever, but lift schedule,
yeah, they lift
schedule?
extra on Friday when we're traveling, and they lift on Monday as well, but we do too. They just lift before us, non-travel guys, and they get a little extra lift in development to grow, and if they're injured, they get 2 or 3 extra rehab treatments. Ron does a good job when he's not here of using the Coliseum and the other Olympic sports staff to rehab our guys.
Do you have to spend much time managing that? Because, I mean, obviously all these guys want to travel, and that was a tough one, that first one with just 70. Or did they just understand, hey, man, you're either on the bus or you're not? I mean, there's nothing to talk about. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, there's not a lot to talk about. They get it. I mean, there's guys that are really close that, you're honest with them and you explain to them why, that, hey, next week it's going to be different. And next week we may play a different team. Next time we travel, it may be different. So, I mean, it changes by the minute, and I think the guys understand. We try to call guys in that have an expectation, or maybe they traveled before and they're not traveling this time out of courtesy, but we can't do that with every player.
Between getting those extra lifts, the extra runs, and butting heads with the starters on a scout team, how big of a benefit can that be to those guys getting that extra work and
doing
Yeah,
it.
I think look at a guy like Fitz. I mean, Fitz last year played left tackle for like 15 practices because we had no scout team alignment. I think it was the bowl practice, and I really think it made him a better player now because he's being asked to block, you know, the kind of cats that he was blocking at left tackle for us when he's blocking Tyler Clark, Devontae Wyatt. Well, now you go out there at tight end, it's a little easier. It creates toughness. You know, I think Isaiah Wilson his first year, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, we didn't send him to the scout team. And then when we realized he might not play with Isaiah Wynn and Andrew playing, but we sent him down there, he got a lot better faster. So you get a lot of development down there. Sometimes kids don't understand it, but there's a greater means to the end. And we really harp on scout team. Our coaches will tell you that I'm relentless about how many reps this guy gets, this guy gets, this guy gets. I mean, Mikael Carter, Julian Rochester, they go get reps on the scout team. There's nobody that's too good for that because it's part of your development. And to be honest with you, in the NFL, people don't realize it. The twos are the scout team. The ones are the scout team. So you might as well learn and figure out that I'm servicing the team. I'm getting myself better when I do it. I'm going to do it. Michael Barnett, he went down there and played the whole year, and the next thing you know, he started against Georgia Tech because he was tougher than everybody else because he played every single snap down there.
Coach, Mark Webb, I mean, so you impressed at all his growth from his freshman year being moved over from receiver to D-back to where he is now. And, whenever y'all recruited him as a wide receiver, did y'all ever talk about the potential of playing D-back at all, or no?
No, we never discussed it. And to be honest with you, he came in, he was a really good wideout. He made a couple of plays, and we were like, man, we got a good wide receiver here. And we were so deep at the time. I mean, we were looking at Terry, Miko, Crump. I mean, there was just so many guys, and they were going to be there for at least, you know, at that time, 2 more years. And we just felt like that Mark could be one of our best 11 defensive backs, and we knew the transition would take a while, and didn't know if he'd be a corner or a safety or what he'd be, but he's grown into a really good star in money, and he's really physical, he's really aggressive, he's tough. Mark's fun to coach. Mark loves football. He's very coachable, so he's been a blessing for us.
What are some of the ways that Quay Walker's grown, and what's he kind of still need to do in your eyes?
Quay's come a long way, but Quay still has a long way to go. So it's interesting to watch because this is a kid that, you know, he played out in space. He played like an outside backer in high school. And when you go inside, it changes your world because you go from seeing one thing to seeing everything. And you got 5 linemen in front of you, and things are going sideways. And you know, he struggled some last year. He got frustrated, and then this year it's amazing how far he's come with understanding our defense and being able to pick things up. He's a really good blitzer. The sky's the limit for him because he's athletic and big, and he's come so far. But he has to decide that he wants to be great and work really hard every day to put himself in a special category.
Quay played a good bit of snaps on Saturday. What did you think of his performance in that game?
Quay did some good things. I mean, he played well. He's going to continue to play, and we need more guys. You know, we need Nate McBride. We need N'Kobe well. We need guys to help us in that position because that's where speed and athleticism really matters on these teams that throw it all around and spread it all around. You got to have athletic backers. And we got some good athletes. We've just been dinged up.
How comparable are Dominic Blaylock and Kyrus Jackson's skill set, and how might Dom be able to sort of fill that role now that Kyrus is going to miss some time?
Yeah, Dom's been awesome. Dom is. That was unfortunate that he didn't get to play the other night because he's really earned the right to play, and just we didn't get an opportunity to put him in. We kept, trying to put the game away and score, and really just never played itself into a position to put him in there. But he's going to be thrust into it now, and I thought he had a really good practice today. I mean, he caught some balls. He catches contested catches. He finds ways to get open. He's really smart. He's tough. He's physical. I mean, he and Kyrus are similar. I mean, Kyrus has probably got a little more experience than him, and Kyrus is a little stronger than him. But they're both really good players.
What were your thoughts on Trey Hill the other night?
Trey did some good things. Trey had a couple missed assignments, and he got the short yardage deal. Guy got up under him and beat him, but he beat that guy earlier in the game. Trey's talented. Trey has to be motivated. He has to stay hungry because it's easy for him sometimes. He's so athletic and so big that he has to push himself.
You're talking about motivating guys. I guess it's different from player to player. You have to have many different ways to kind of get these guys going.
Yeah, I mean, some guys don't. Don't require motivation. They're self-starters, and that's just human nature, in my opinion. And other guys, they need a little spark, they need a little fire, and they need to grow to get better. Otherwise, they might be comfortable where they are, and I don't think we should ever be comfortable.
Kirby, you guys have scheduled a lot of prominent Power 5 opponents for future schedules. Where do FCS programs fit in? I know you can't schedule 12 Power 5s.
Well, I mean, I think it's the lifeblood of a program. I think if you went and polled them, they would tell you that without some of the bigger schools, they wouldn't have a program. And it's their opportunity to fund their program. And I have been a huge salesman in the game and sport of football. And I hope one day that my son that plays football has an opportunity to go play somewhere. And the more opportunities they have, I think it gives kids a wonderful chance to get a free education. And if we don't play FCS teams, then there's probably going to be some of them flip and go under, especially the way television is today and attendance is dwindled. That's the lifeblood of their program, and I certainly want to try to help support them, but not at the cost of our fan base, not getting what they want, but there's a medium in there.
Coach Doyle was saying today that you were the one who was kind of recruiting him when you were at VSU.
Yeah, I think David Dean and myself, I know David had a lot of his area, but I remember him well, and just hope he doesn't remember any of the bad words we said to him when he was on the scout team.
You mentioned yesterday you didn't want to get into all the rules Jake has for checks and stuff because it's too complicated, but the short version, is there a long list of plays he can check into, or is he given 2 options before? Is it run or pass? Or
if I said that, every defensive coordinator in our conference would ask that and say, oh, well, that's what they do. So I don't really think that's fair, because I would be giving out information that might help them, if you know what I'm saying. So I would prefer not to answer that, because that's really, every team has their methodology at which they give their quarterback the freedom to do things, and we have ours. And I don't really want to share it out there.
What can you say about Warren McClendon's progress since he's gotten to campus, and how is he adjusting to college ball?
He's doing well. He came in early. He got to practice with us. He's been over on the scout team with us. He competes every day, and he gets to match up on Jermaine and Nolan and Aziz. And I think you go against those guys every day, you can certainly improve. He's been a great kid to be around, and he's getting better by the minute.
What would he bring to the offensive line if he ever, once he gets to that point? What would he bring to the offensive line differently?
A lot of character, a lot of toughness. He's a good athlete. He's still got work to do to develop, but he understands that. He's getting better. He's preparing his time.
When Quay committed to Georgia, he very famously had a Tennessee hat on and chucked it across the room. Did you ever see that and say anything to about it, what your reaction was to it?
Yeah, I think he regretted it. He regretted it after the fact, and it wasn't a proud moment for him. It was a moment that he was probably succumbed with all the hoopla and just caught up in the moment. And he and I talked about it. He understands it, and it's something that he learned from.
With DJ Daniel and Tyson Campbell, how did you evaluate, I know they split some time out there at that corner spot?
As far as how we evaluate them?
Yeah,
Yeah, they didn't, neither one of them got tested much. I mean, they didn't get a lot of balls thrown their way. They didn't get a lot of opportunities. So they executed, tackled well. DJ had a good tackle. Tyson had one good tackle and had one poor one. And, same thing for Stokes. I mean, that battle's going to go on. Tyreek Stevenson's in that battle, so that's never over.
Can you see you've talked before about how much those guys have to run and how much ground they cover during a given game. Is that a situation where you'd like to be able to say, hey, I've got 4 guys that you can kind of roll in and roll out and get to that point, or do you like to have 2 and kind of stick with 2?
I want the best guys to play. I mean, that's not a position historically that you roll in and out, because you usually have a different level of talent or making plays, and that's not somewhere you want to be messing around unless you feel like they're all even, which we've done that at inside backer before, but we didn't have that last year. We felt like we had 2, and Eric took over for Tyson and played well, and then Baker held his spot down. I don't know how it'll go. I really don't. We get tested every day in practice, probably more than we got in the game last week, so we're going to find out more this week and more the next week and more the next week. Thanks, guys.